Now, the paper prototype is not the end. This lesson is all about test and reflect. In this last step, learners are going to share their paper prototypes with others and get them to test them out and ask questions, and then they're going to find some way to reflect and improve their product. For this, you need the design thinking booklet and the paper prototype you created in the previous lesson. So to start off, you're going to talk to learners about why they think it's important that apps are tested out by people before they are released. What sort of information can you get, or useful points can you get from having people test your app? You can explain to them that the paper prototype is not the last step. When people are designing apps or websites or new products, they go through many different versions before they come to the one that's finally released to the public. They get people to test the app out, they figure out what works and what doesn't, and they figure out how to improve. Now, not every suggestion they take on board. It is still up to the app creator to decide which of the suggestions are useful and which not. What you need to do is get each of the groups to get their paper prototypes together and find two different groups of people to test them on, getting two different sort of perspectives. Once they've spoken to two groups, they can decide what they would change or improve about their app for the future. If they had to actually really build this app, how would they change their final design? The last thing you're going to do is just have a discussion with learners about the whole problem-solving process. How they went through this process, how they found each step, what did they learn about designing new things throughout this process. It's a good time for you to reflect on the lesson as well as on the app. To link this to real life, you can talk about how lots of things have room for improvement. I don't know about you, but these food coloring bottles drive me crazy. I wish they would put a little tip on that lets you pour the food coloring out a drip at a time. Or a calculator app where it shows people how they worked it out so that they can understand. This whole design thinking process is about opening learners' eyes to the problems that they see around them and how they can improve things. Even after this project is finished, I challenge you to ask learners to come up with problems that they see in their community now that their eyes are more open to it, to discuss problems that they find as they move through their world. It's a good way to look at the world critically and think of what improvements you can make as a digital citizen. I hope you enjoyed this set of lessons, and I really hope that you can use this practically in your classroom. So this is the final step. Find two people to have a look at and review your paper prototype and give you some feedback on it, even if it's just simple feedback for testing it out. And then you need to reflect and say how you would improve your app for the future by answering the questions on the reflect page.